Hi everybody, welcome back to Arma 3, welcome back to Spearhead 1944, and welcome back to the free Spearhead Extended mod, which has just had an update to include the British Armed Forces, Polish, Australians, New Zealanders, and basically the Commonwealth as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to do a really small showcase of some of the assets that are now available, because there's also some very exciting other ones as well that you can just about see over there in that field. So how does this work? Well, obviously you get Arma 3, and if you haven't bought Arma 3 yet and you're on PC, come on. It's just had this really big update that has brought in the multi-threading capabilities from Arma Reforger, so the latest Arma Infusion engine. They've ported them back into Arma 3, so it now runs smoother than it ever has, which has given it a whole new lease of life. I'd probably say wait till Arma 3 goes on sale and you want to buy something like the Ground Edition, because that includes all of the official DLC. And then Bohemia Interactive, the devs and publishers behind Arma 3, are very clever in the fact that they've got all of these third parties to create official creator DLC, so stuff that's made by other people, that comes under the Arma 3 umbrella and is then released as that. So it's paid DLC, and they're like incredibly polished mods, but also include things like missions, and you could argue that they're actually better than some of the official DLC that Bohemia Interactive has created. And the most famous one is probably Prairie Fire, the Vietnam one, but Spearhead 1944, the World War II one, is absolutely excellent, and again, highly recommend that you buy this when it goes on sale. And then what lots of the devs do who've created these cDLCs, they'll have another mod as well, which you don't have to pay for, but is kind of runs concurrently with, is compatible with their paid for mods. So for example, we have Spearhead Extended, and this allows the dev or the devs to be able to bring things into the mod that are available to other people as well, much more quickly than if they had to get it published via Bohemia Interactive. And this one brings in things like, here we go, so the British 1940 faction, 42 North Africa, 44 faction Canadian, Anzac, Western Polish, the Dutch Afrika Korps. There's loads of uniforms, extra weapons, the Piat. We've now got the Cromwell, we've got the Humbers, we've got the Bedford trucks. Very, very exciting indeed. And we've got the new Lingèvres terrain or map, which was a British sector in Normandy. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to this page as well that kind of explains the Lingèvres as well, the battle of it. Apologies for my pronunciation. So let's dive in and have a quick look around. So you can see my soldiers in the sort of classic British uniform. They're nice little moustache. Let's run over here. Behind me we can see a beautiful Horsa with a couple of British pilots inside. And here we have the long-awaited Piat. Bring up the Piat! These are British Airborne Forces. And then we have the Piat assistant with the Piat shells, well, mortars. The Piat was like a spring-loaded spigot mortar. Sounds ridiculous, didn't it? It was quite effective, though. Here we have the lovely British 6-pounder with our Tommies on it, ready to spring into action and take out those German tanks. And here we have the venerable Cromwell. Look at that. Look at that. What an amazing piece of kit. Arma 3 models are, it just looks so beautiful, doesn't it? Let's go to first person so we get a better look. Looks absolutely stunning. And with this new update 2.2.0, the game just runs so much smoother than it used to. Here we've got some British Bedford trucks. We've got some British paratroopers here. Look at that lovely Sten gun. Oh, absolutely marvellous. And then and there's another Cromwell. Here we've got some British versions of Shermans. I'm not really sure about the decals on them, though. I'm not sure if I've got that right. And then we have a British Skytrain, Dakota, DC-3, looking splendiferous. So we come over here, and here we've got a squad of British soldiers, as you'd kind of expect them to see, with the normal webbing weapons and the helmets. Very good. But if we run over here quickly, what you can see is desert variants of the M3 tank destroyer. Is that what it's called? I've probably got that wrong. I do apologise if I have. The Shermans. There's the little Humber trucks. And then we have the Bedford trucks in the background. And here we have the desert rats with their shorts. Obviously not a great idea in the desert, funnily enough, because you end up getting lots of scratches that can get and cuts that can get infected. There's those thick woolly socks. Can you imagine what it was like? And there's a rat in the background. Lots of rats in France in 1944, as you'd expect. But very excitingly, here we have the Arfika Korps. Now, of course, there's lots and lots of mods for World War II, for Arma 3 already, that bring in these sorts of things, aren't they? But it's nice to have them as part of the Spearhead 1944 extended mod. That's a Pack 43, I'm going to say. Mark IV Panzer. Actually, I think the Mark IV is my favourite looking German tank. I do like the Mark IV. I just think it looks very good. And of course, there we have a Tiger, famous during the Algerian campaign. I think that's when they started to appear, and the Allies were like, "Oh my gosh, what on earth is this?" And in fact, the Tiger that is at Bovington Tank Museum, which is, I think it might be the only running Tiger in the world, was captured in North Africa. And then we've got, now apologies again, but I think these are both Stugs. I think here we have a flat gun and a couple of German trucks. So as you can see, it brings an awful lot to the game for creating scenarios. Out of the box, you can play things like Combat Patrol, which I'll do a video about. But we've also, I had a quick look on the Steam Workshop. Remember, this is only just been released, but it looks like there's new versions of Dynamic Combat Ops and Dynamic Recon Ops that use the new Lingèvres map as well. I'll tell you what we could do is if I go back here and return to the Eden editor and we press M. So that's the map. As you can see, it's a really, really nice big map. And what we could do is, I guess we could fly around a little bit, can't we? So this is, I guess this is the town that they fought over. And we can go to the north. Oh God, we are so lucky to have these games, aren't we? We are so, so lucky. Lots of open tank country, lots of hedgerows. Very, very cool. Do some very nice scenarios, I think, in here. Nice and compact. Not too big, not too complicated, so it's not going to stress your PC too much. But absolutely fantastic. So well done, Heavy Ordnance Work, for this update. Looking forward to more. You know, we will really want the Churchill. We want the flamethrower Churchill, don't we, with the crocodile trailer for that. But absolutely marvellous. I know lots of people, when Spearhead 1944 first came out, were a little bit disappointed because of the lack of different factions in it, and also things like the lack of variation in some of the vehicles and weapons. But I think this is starting to extend it very, very nicely indeed. Yeah, and I'm very, very chuffed. So there we go. Spearhead Extended, the add-on mod, if you like, free add-on mod for Spearhead 1944, which in and of itself is the creator DLC for Arma 3. Hopefully this video has been useful. If it has been, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. And of course, I'll see you again soon.